What's good, everybody? Welcome in to the Early Edge and Big Pick Energy Friday. We're here positive, despite the way the chat has started this morning. I will address that in a moment. This is your daily sports betting brand of record. We are powered, as always, by the almighty SportsLine, the best value in all sports betting, but it's not close. Now, you know we take the good with the bad, but Nicholas in the chat says this: I love Coach, and leave the screen up there, Jake, but when he discusses transparency, I have to wonder, why does he rarely tweet after we lose a pick, but make sure he's loud and proud when a pick hits? Nicholas, I love you too, and I love everybody in the chat. This is called transparency. Every single day on the show, we recap what we did the day before. My tweets? I tweet all the time. Sometimes I'm picking my kids up. Sometimes I'm doing other things. I tweet when I have time. That is not my job. But we are the most transparent brand in sports betting. We recap everything, and everything we do is on video. So please keep it positive, because we do. And last night we talked about on the live show, if you watched all of these X's, almost every single one, we talked about how close, how sharp, how tight these lines are. We say be very, very careful. This is a tough business. It is. Sometimes you have good days. Sometimes you have bad days. But Fridays here at the brand, oh, it's a great day, because I bring in the stars of the show. My goodness, look who we have today. Let's pick it back up one time. He is the czar, Emery Hunt. Welcome back to the Early Edge, sir.
Glad to be back on location today in New Orleans, because I'll be at the Caesars Sportsbook all day Saturday, all day Sunday, talking college football and NFL on CBS Sports, HQ and SportsLine. So, yes, that's why you see the background. That's why you see me in this. I just woke up, Fleece. So bear with me.
If I know New Orleans like I think I know New Orleans, however you say it, you're in a hotel downtown, because that's an old style decor. Am I right?
You're absolutely correct. And I am also in a place that I will not name, because again, we got too many fans. I won't be signing autographs.
Of course. Yeah, right. You know what I'm
saying? So, but this is a very nice establishment overlooking Canal Street.
There you go. That's how he rolls. It's how he rolls. You never know. Friday night could be at a high school game. Saturday he could be at Caesars in the Big Easy. Now, the other man, part of the reason we started calling this show Big Pick Energy Friday, we call him. You can see him on Wednesdays on the College Football Mega Preview every single week and every single Friday. He is the one, the only, Chip Patterson. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Love seeing that hashtag BPE in the chat. We got to keep it going. We got to spread that good word about that big pick energy. We're bringing good energy here on this Friday to get your weekend started right. Great to be with y'all to get it going.
All right, let's get to it, because I got to tell you, the first college football rankings came out on Tuesday, and a little bit of a surprise. We're going to start storylines that could affect the betting lines, and there is no question that when you get a little bit disrespected, Chip, what are you going to do the next time you step on the field? Very interesting for two very important teams.
Without a doubt, and two teams that are favored this weekend. Yeah, we are looking at style points, because style points do matter, because this is a committee. These are humans. They talk about, oh, we watch all the games. We got DVDs. Well, if you watch all the games, then you also know the way that these teams look. And Michigan finds itself on the outside looking in at the end of the first playoff rankings release. So what can Michigan do? Michigan can run it up. Hello, Rutgers. I am sorry that the Rutgers Scarlet Knights are going to have to be the receiving end of a style points bonanza for the Michigan Wolverines. I expect that Michigan will do everything it can to try and impress the committee, make an argument that it is more deserving of being in one of those top spots than the Clemson Tigers. TCU also has a 0 in the loss column, but even worse in the position that Michigan's in, there's a one-loss team ahead of the Horned Frogs. TCU is at home, and TCU was singled out by Boo Corrigan, the chair of the selection committee, mentioning the double-digit deficits, mentioning having to come back, mentioning that it's not necessarily a balanced team, all offense, no defense. Texas Tech coming to town. I expect that TCU not only is going to try to have style points in terms of letting that explosive offense continue to put it up, but look for that Horned Frogs defense to play a little inspired as well, as they try to prove that they are just as worthy of being a championship contender as these other undefeated teams. Style points matter. Humans are on that committee. If they say eye test is a thing, well, then you got to make their eyes feel good.
You have to know the difference between college football betting right now and NFL betting right now. And that was a great explanation. By the way, where is that jacket from, Chip? Which is that, like the dream team? Is that the...
Yeah, it's it was the national team in maybe the 14 basketball World Cup.
Okay.
It was either the 14, the 14 World Cup or the 16 Olympics. Sometime around then, before I was married and had kids and could make reckless purchases like that.
That still hasn't stopped me, and maybe that's my problem. All right, now let's get into our board for the day. And by the way, if you are not a SportsLine member yet, Nicholas, this is for you. What are you doing? Come on, use a promo code early. I'll give you 30 days for free. You can get all my cappers. You get all my simulations. You can get all of the results there. We'll be loud. We'll be proud. We'll tout them all, wins and losses. I promise you, we will do that moving forward. Now, we like to chop the show up on Fridays into our Friday plays and our Saturday plays. And only our man called the Czar could have Alcorn State, UConn, and Oregon State all wrapped up into one little nice package. Emery, start us off.
Yes, sir. And I will start you guys off with that SWAC game. Alcorn and Prairie View. Prairie View's offense can score. They can run up and down the field. And I'm going to ignore the anomaly that took place last weekend in Grambling's 36-9 beatdown of Alcorn last week. Alcorn is much better than that score. They have a much better defense. I know they lost by 30-plus points last weekend, but here's the thing. Keep this one close because Alcorn's run game is outstanding. They have 3 legit tailbacks, Nico Duffy, Jarvion Howard, and Javonta Leatherwood. I want to make sure I get all those guys' names right because they are excellent at running the football, and their run game, their defense, and their special teams will keep this one very close. They want to get that bad taste of that Grambling beatdown out of their mouth. Best way to do it, come back and play a really good game against a team that's leading the SWAC West in Prairie View. So I like this one to go closer. Plus 9.5, take Alcorn. Also, Oregon State against Washington. Since Ben Goldberson has started at quarterback, I feel like they are much better than Nolan was at quarterback for the Beavers. And I'm just not sold on the consistency level of, Michael Penix Jr. and that Washington offense. And I know it's supposed to be raining out there at Husky Stadium, but guess what? Beavers do better in the rain than Huskies. So I do like Oregon State to play this one close. Chip brought up a great point talking about style points. Oregon State is ranked 24th. This is a style points type game. I think they can take care of business. I'm taking them plus the 4.5, which I feel like is disrespectful. And also UConn, great run game, great defense. Jim Moore Jr. is doing a fantastic job. I'm a big fan of what running back coach E.J. Barthel does with his backs. Everywhere he's been phenomenal. And he also used to tote that rock for UMass, I believe. So it's an interesting game right here. So I'm going to lay these 15.5 points with the Huskies. They're 1 win away. I expect them to take care of business tonight. 1 win away from bowl eligibility. So what a great way to get close to that number than to take out your rival. 15.5 points to me is not enough. Lay these right now while you can jump on it. And tomorrow we'll get to that in a second.
All right. Well, I got to tell you, for the UConn at the start of the year, if you would have told them a bowl would be in their future, they would have taken that like that. No doubt about it. All right, great start for our Friday plays there. But, Chip, I'm looking at one Friday play for you that really would be a nice synergy play with one of Emery's. What am I talking about?
Well, I'm talking about an atmospheric river, okay? I am talking about a meteorological event that we, as people who follow this thing, especially as it pertains to college football and what it can do for betting, we don't track this stuff for years to not take advantage of an atmospheric river. We are talking about a narrow corridor of concentrated moisture in the atmosphere, and it is attacking the Pacific Northwest. It's only going to be about 4 to 5 hours, but they are projecting that it's going to be somewhere between 5 p.m. and midnight, which means we could have sheets of rain falling from a river in the sky. Wind gusts that could be anywhere from 15 to 40 miles an hour. And look, I'm going to go actual football on this. Don't worry. I'm not somebody who can be on the Weather Channel standing in the rain and the wind. No, Washington's offense, it runs through Michael Penix. It moves the ball through the air from side to side. How are you going to hold on to that thing when we've got a river in the sky dumping rain? Oregon State, Washington, under 54.5. And Emery brings up a great point. Beavers are better wet than Huskies, but both these animals are going to smell when they get wet, and they want to end this game as fast as possible. We have seen games in hurricanes. We have seen these kind of downpour games. They all end up with scores like 17-13, which would be an Oregon State cash, or, 21-17, which would be an Oregon State cash, or maybe Oregon State wins the game outright. Look, when you have an atmospheric river, don't go out there and take an over. We take the under.
It's a river in the sky.
The river in the sky keeps on dumping, and the under keep on cashing.
Bro, Chip is hilarious. David said, Chip the weatherman did not know how much I needed that. That's why we call this Big Pick Energy Friday. We try to pick you up. This is a tough business. It's hard. It's hard. So why wouldn't we be in a good mood when we do it? We know it's hard to win, but man, a good attitude, positivity gets my day started off right. Now, that's just Friday. That is just Friday. I live out here on the West Coast. There's been a lot of weather. I live south of Washington, but all up and down the West Coast, a lot of weather. Keep that in mind. Now, back to Emery. Now, Emery, the one thing you have built your brand on is finding nuggets, finding games, finding teams that most are not looking at. The game you're playing on Saturday, I can promise you, we've never had this pick on the show before. Please, sir.
And the reason why I chose this game is for the story surrounding it. I do a weekly FCS Top 25 on CBSSports.com. Week number 10 is up on the site. Go check that thing out. But one team that's on the cusp and has been the last couple of weeks is St. Thomas, the Tommies out of Minnesota. Reason why this is fascinating to me, they joined Division I last year from Division III. So they jumped up from Division III to Division I football, non-scholarship, of course, in the Pioneer League, but they were excellent last year in their first season. This year, they're dominating, and they may even win the Pioneer League outright. They play Valparaiso tonight, and no, we're not talking about basketball. We're talking about Valparaiso. Their football team is pretty solid, but St. Thomas has been on a tear. They have a great running back. Their defense is excellent. St. Thomas was always built like a Division I team. They were so dominant in their conference in Division III that the conference kicked them out of the conference, which prompted the move to Division I last year. It was like, you're too good. You have to leave the conference. So they stayed out of the conference that last season and jumped into Division I this last year. So they're 4.5-point favorites against Valpo. They win this game, they're going to be in my top 25 in week 11. I'm laying these 4.5 points with them. I just feel like this is a story that's going untold. We just heard rumors that Xavier is starting football potentially, and they're going to jump in the Pioneer League as well, the famous basketball school in Cincinnati. But St. Thomas will go from D3 to FCS is just, Division I FCS is just crazy, and to be dominant right away. So shout out to the Tommies.
Yeah, when this story happened and they got kicked out of their conference, it was crazy because you're like, what are they doing? You're too good. I've never heard that reason.
Never.
You're too good. You can't play with us.
I've never
very interesting.
Yeah. And to quickly answer the question in the chat, someone asked about my CFL picks. It is playoff time. I'll have these picks either later tonight on the SportsLine website in the article, or you'll get them fresh and early tomorrow morning. It's a few days out. These games kick off on Sunday, so want to make sure I give you guys the best analysis and bang for your buck.
All right, very, very good. If you're a SportsLine member, you get all of that for $10 a month. $10. That's it, to be a part of this incredible community that we continue to build. All right, now in the chat, they said, who's going to interrupt Coach's flow if AB doesn't? We don't need that. AB and Buckets are grade A interrupters. I wonder where Buckets is this morning. He's not on Big Pick Energy. I know that. So
I hope his car's got gas. Buckets. Hope you're filled up, man.
Yeah,
I was worried about you.
He's stuck on the side of the road and still cashed the ticket while he was sitting there waiting for gas.
He's a pro, man.
He's a pro. He's a pro's pro. That's exactly who Bucket is. All right, now we've got 4 more plays. And Chip, I'm just going to get out of the way. You, sir, have the floor.
All right, we're going to start with a 2-for-1 special. I got 2 picks, and hopefully, actually, you know what? They are both going to cash. We're looking at Clemson and Notre Dame in South Bend on a Saturday night. Number one, we saw what Marcus Freeman's game plan is against the best teams in the country against Ohio State. And it's really just like playing to keep it close, because this is not a Notre Dame offense that is very explosive. They can run the ball pretty well, and, you know, they've got one of the best tight ends in the country in Mayer, but with Drew Pine at quarterback especially, you're not going to be able to overcome a big deficit. So Marcus Freeman, former defensive coordinator, is going to let his defense lead the way. It was 21-10 in that game. That's a total of 31. Now, Clemson head coach Dabo Swinney has a history. I like to call him Big Game Dabo, which he doesn't want his quarterback to make mistakes. He also likes to let his defense go and win. And the thing that Dabo loves to do is kick little short field goals. Clemson does a good job of moving the ball, but when they get into scoring position, it can get a little bit tough. They get pretty conservative. He is more than happy getting 3 points out of that situation. So as Marcus Freeman is coaching to try to keep it tight, very conservative, as Dabo Swinney is kicking a lot of field goals, punting from plus territory, we're going to go under. But ultimately, Clemson is the better team here. And I do not think that DJ Uiagalelei is going to go throw for 435 yards like he did the last time he was in South Bend. It's a losing effort, but still fantastic performance by a true freshman in spot of Trevor Lawrence a couple years ago. But I do think that he's going to have a much, much better game than what he had against Syracuse. So we're going to take Clemson and lay the points. We think that that defense leads the way. DJ doesn't turn it over too much. We're also going to go under 44. Let's cash them both. All right. I know that unders, I've already had 2 of them out of here. I've got to cleanse it, right? We've got to get some overs. So let's go to the Big 12 where the line's too little. Texas and Kansas State. We are going over 54.5. Texas has had a week off to get ready for this game. And I think that especially in the first half, Quinn Ewers is going to have a much better performance than he did against Oklahoma State. I think that those wide receivers are going to be able to hit some explosive plays. And we know that Bijan Robinson is fantastic. Texas's issue on the road, and this game is in Manhattan, has been in the second half. So I think Texas gives us a lot of points early, and then Kansas State will do its part because something amazing has happened. Kansas State found the forward pass. They found it in their backup quarterback, who might now be their starting quarterback in Will Howard, but they have the forward pass. Kansas State has been putting up points. We saw them win 48-0 against that Oklahoma State team. I think this total should be around 62. We get it at 54.5. We go over. And finally, another over for you. I loved what I saw from true freshman quarterback MJ Morris for NC State, because they went to a graduate transfer after Devin Leary went out with an injury. He couldn't really move the ball down the field, but Morris stepped into the game, 3 touchdowns all in the second half against Virginia Tech to keep NC State ranked in last Thursday night's game. They've got that long week to prepare then, get that offense ready to go. Wake Forest will not have 8 turnovers in a single quarter. Dadgummit. You just can't do that 2 games in a row. I think that Wake Forest puts up a bunch of points. I think that NC State with the new quarterback is able to move the ball against this Wake Forest defense. This game was 45-42 last year. 54, that is way too low. Night game in Raleigh. We go over the 54 there.
I was on the over in that NC State game last week when it was, 3-0 at halftime? 10-0?
3-0 at halftime. So you saw MJ Morris. He came in there and was playing pretty good.
Amazing. And we cashed the over with just in the second half. It was absolutely bananas. But Chip, we have a situation. A situation. So, as you know, being a part of the crew, that we get challenged all the time. And the one thing that we started doing is showdowns with fans in the chat. Sometimes we win, sometimes we lose. But where is it? My man, John says, could I get a showdown with Chip on the Clemson line?
No.
See, no? Well, it's $100. That is a showdown price. So it's now in your lap, Chip. You've been challenged. Would you like a showdown with John?
I would take it. Yeah. I would take a showdown on the total before I would take it on Clemson. 3 and a hook is not of those 2 plays and the 2-for-1 special, I'm more confident on the total.
On the total. All right. So, John, if you want a showdown on the total, just put I'm in the chat. Just type I'm in. If you don't, that's fine too. But in the next 5 minutes, I need to see I'm in, and we will do that showdown. I like it. I love showdowns with the chat. All right. We have a busy day at the brand. Busy day at the Brown. This is not our only show. We've got Early Edge in 5, special start time today, 3:30 p.m. Eastern time, because the most important prop hour of the week. Prop stars, see ya. Uncle Dave from Fantasy Football Today, 4 p.m. Eastern time. By the way, prop stars, he has been profitable every single week of the NFL season. Like Pooh Bear said in the chat, it's not just about this show. It was rough day on the show, yes, but good day on SportsLine. They just give us money and love to be a member and take down the house. Let's have a weekend. We are just the conduits. We're just the liaisons between you and SportsLine. It's a big community. A lot of incredible cappers like the two you get on Big Pick Energy Friday. So grab your paper. Grab your pencil. Here is the recap, courtesy of Jake the Snake on the ones and the twos. Chip, Oregon State, Washington. We're going to go under 54.5. All that water flowing from the sky. And then his Saturday picks. Clemson -3.5. Clemson-Notre Dame under 44. Texas, Kansas State over 54.5. Wake Forest, NC State over 54. Then Emery, a little potpourri. Alcorn State +9.5. UConn -15.5. Oregon State +4.5. And St. Thomas -4.5. Now, what did John say?
Oh, he's in.
Oh, so Chip, the only one thing we have to do to make this official is I need you to say, Snake, hit the music.
Snake, hit that music! It's gonna be a showdown.
And Crystal's up this morning, everybody. She says, it's gonna be a show. Oh, you know when my better half is up and in the chat, it's gonna be a good day. She loves you two, by the way. She talks about you two all the time. As I stop talking about Emery and Chip. They're amazing. They're amazing. All right. What a great
I throw a preview out there. I'll be the one to interrupt you right now, Coach. Duke -10. Lay those points too. Raleigh Leonard, excellent. They're going to blow the doors off Boston College. Shout out Chestnut Hill, though. Great press box group.
And that game's today, by the way. That
Boston
game
College is down
today.
bad.
Bad,
Right?
Boston College needs if you would like to play offensive line for a college football team at the Power 5 level, Boston College coach Jeff Hafley would love to see you come and suit up for the Eagles. I don't know who's even playing for them anymore.
I agree. I have no idea. By the way, John, I need you to type your Twitter handle into the chat so we can get a hold of you. The rules for the showdown are this. It's $100. Venmo'd by midnight. By midnight of the day the game is on, which is tomorrow. Mm-hmm. If you do not pay by midnight via Venmo, then you are never allowed to have a showdown again. Those are the rules. And then Chip has to do accordingly, and he will.
Is that why a certain capper who's no longer on the show anymore is no longer on the show? Because they were all about Gonzaga, Arkansas and went for a showdown. And now all of a sudden I never saw it come through. I
don't even know what you're talking about.
His name rhymes with K-Move. And he got overexposed back in Gonzaga against Arkansas. And I told him that them Gonzaga boys never been hit in the chest like Arkansas is going to come and hit you in the chest.
By the way, did you see, speaking of hitting the chest, you see what Huggins said about Gonzaga potentially coming to the Big 12?
In for a rude awakening.
Ooh, rude awakening if they come to the Big 12. All right. What a good day. What a fun day. And we end it this way. There's only one thing left to do, and I believe you all know what that is. You got your marching orders. Let's take all of these tickets straight to the pay window. For my entire crew on Big Pick Energy Friday, love them all. Emery Hunt, the Czar. Chip Patterson, the man. Jake the Snake on the ones and the twos. I am the coach. We're here every single day, multiple times a day. We grind for you because we love it so very much right here. Have a great day at the Early Edge.